Hey, John. I just unmuted you. There we go. How you doing? John, you there?
Yeah, I don't know how this works though.
Oh, I hear you in the background somehow, some way.
Fair enough. First time doing this, so
Let's make sure it's not my speaker, but I only hear you slightly.
it probably my setup. I've never done like an interactive one before.
Okay, I heard you just a little. If you hear me clear, then that's good. And I also have the little chat box too, so you can type in the chat box if you don't want to be on speaker, which I won't have it on speaker the whole time anyway. You're just the first one in, so you're lucky. All right, doing some setup here too. All right, I see you, John, with your setup. Let's see. If you got a question while you got me, go ahead and get your question in first. I know we didn't officially start, and we will soon, but type it in. You don't actually have to talk it in. I'm going to do that for everybody. If they want to talk it in, we'll fine. If not, we'll type it in. But while you're doing that, I'm also going to be looking up some stuff. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, so how do you introduce accountability without discouraging people from reporting incidents? That's a good one. Awesome. So I'll have to look that up. No, no, there are some set ways on that, and you're still unmuted. So if you want to talk, that's fine too. But there are several ways to do that, and truly, it comes down to. I can't say two. I don't want to simplify it too much, but here's the points. One is, how dedicated do you believe that management is for safety? That is one of the big things. So what are they really, do their actions match up with their words? And in the public sector, it's kind of tough because without a federal OSHA or state OSHA, I should say, I always get this with my public sector. And when I was in the public sector, I would hear, yeah, we follow OSHA up to this point, and then we're not under OSHA anymore. So that's usually what I hear. So is that close to what you're hearing?
Pretty much. What we're basically told is all of the classes we send people to are OSHA based, and then we have our employees come back to tell them, oh, but we don't follow OSHA. So it's like a mixed thing.
Okay, so mixed bag.
Yeah.
Okay, Oh, I got you really close. So it was on my end. Uh, all of a sudden, I wiggled some cords, and then I could hear you. Yay!
Uh,
So what I would do in that case is, especially if, with the public sector, someone who's coming over, I would then just get one-on-one with them first and say, hey, can I talk to you about the safety culture and trying to, because you can't really do regulation. You have to go straight into culture. So you'll have to talk to them about, here's my goals. This is what I see we can do. These are my key people that I think I could use to help us, and then see what kind of response that would get. And if he's ready for that response, they're giving you the right response of saying, yeah, I believe we could do this, and this is my goal too, and I'm going to give you the reins. Then your next conversation would be with your chief operators and middle management. Yeah, middle management is the key. If you can't get middle management on board, you're sunk. So middle management's got to be the other half of that conversation. So what do you think?
I don't know yet. It's our director is very much more focused on the people and new director a lot different. He actually is results oriented, that kind of thing. So I think it's getting there, but it's still changing that whole culture where everybody's been under that mindset for so long that all of a sudden now it's
Yeah, I uh, I think the next thing you would do then is look for your resources, meaning who do you have like that's has your back in safety. So especially if they're higher up, one of the people that you could ask would be your risk manager, who should have your back in safety. And then the other one that I would also think about is um, your insurance company, because though the insurance company, uh, they take a different route with safety because they have to look at all of the aspect of safety. And if they can't see that the utility or the city county isn't doing the right thing, they're paying out money. So you may actually have to talk to your human resources and say, hey, who's our carrier? Because I need to meet up with them, and they could actually give you some incentives too.
fair enough.
So that's my approach to that, usually with public entities. And the other portion of it is, after you get the management, the middle management on board, getting the other people on board with the safety will come in two parts. First part may be a little heavy-handed, meaning you're going to have to break bad habits, but then the second part could start be rewarding good behavior, and it may actually be simultaneously where you reward good behavior and you break bad habits and hold people accountable. But your middle management is going to be that force. It shouldn't be coming like safety cop. You shouldn't be doing that.
Agreed.
Uh, Go ahead.
In your experience with public agencies,
Hmm.
do most of them have a safety officer at, say, the city level, or is it mostly department level?
Usually, what I see is I'll see it on the. It depends. I see the risk manager on a city level, and then the risk manager themselves would have a safety person over each plant, or a safety person in the same office as risk manager. So I don't see how you guys have that. You guys are you Palm Coast, or are you
Palm Bay.
Palm Bay? I keep forgetting which one. I knew it was a Palm.
Currently, right now, all we have is the risk manager, and their primary concern is more to do with insurance claims and that kind of stuff, and making sure workman's comp is covered and all of that.
Hmm.
Anyone necessarily looking at how do you prevent them in the first place?
Yeah. Well, I see most of the risk managers, especially if they came from the private sector into the public sector, they're a little over their heads because they could wield OSHA like, a sword and say, OSHA will get you. But you don't have that in the public sector, so they kind of get a little lost and they're hiding out in their office a lot more. So,
100%.
do you see that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I try and bring up, like, for us in the utility, on any given day, we might have 40 to 50 job sites going on simultaneously.
Yeah.
Just by nature of what we do. So oftentimes, you're counting on employees basically to self-police. You know,
Yep. So you're actually uh, as I read your question, it looks like you're trying to start the culture side bottom up. Eventually, to maintain the culture, it has to be bottom up, but to start the culture, it needs to be top down, if that makes any sense.
100%. How or can you give me an example of starting it from top down? Because I've had this argument before that, I work for somebody who works directly for the director. So I'm two levels down.
Hmm.
And I've had the same argument that until it comes from the director, employees aren't going to put the same importance on it.
Yep.
So can you give like an example of something director could put out, could say, could?
It'll go towards more doing. So let's say your director is walking through the plant, and now they're doing an air bay cleanup. Let's say it's the wastewater plant. So he has to go in, he's got to check out the air bay. Maybe while he's asking about how long the job's going to do and the task, he throws in a few questions on, where's your fall protection? How you guys getting in and out? Where's the gas detector? Uh, have you guys calibrated this? So that means you're going to have to teach them before they get out there, kind of coach him before he gets out there, and just so he looks good when he's there asking the right questions. Does that mean you're leading the witness? Yeah, maybe, but that's okay. He goes out there and he sees that, or at least they know that, wow, the director actually knows about a gas detector, or he knows about this part of confined space entry. And if that's the case, then you're helping him look good. So it's a win-win because he looks good for knowing that stuff, and then the workers themselves will start feeling a little bit more confidence in him, and he'll give you more confidence. So it's kind of like a little domino effect there.
Fair enough.
So your biggest influence will be having him or her, I shouldn't be sexist, but having your director walk the plant with you. So when they walk the plant, and you'll have to schedule that in. So send them a nice little note saying, hey, these are the days that I walk the plant. I do evening or I do morning. Which day can you come? And I'll give you a nice little quick update before we go. We go into the lab and you see the guys at the lab, find out what they're doing, talk to them about the lab, and then interject the safety portion. I see you guys are wearing gloves, or what kind of chemical would you need? What does your SDS sheet say about the chemical you're handling? And uh, that might be a subtle way of getting him thinking safety, and also getting them to know that it means something to the boss.
Fair enough.
And then policies, right? That's the other half, the getting it in writing.
See, that's where we're actually pretty good.
All right.
We have tons of policies. It's just getting them to be followed.
You guys are actually a lot better off. I've seen some utilities and counties and cities right in your area that they have no policies, and I'm going in there. I'm coming in and servicing them as the outside person, and they're asking me to bring in policies from other cities and counties to help them. So you guys are at least better off in that way.
Fair enough.
And so, hey, how's your cost certification working for you?
Um, I don't know if it was the lead up to taking the class, but when they described what would be a result of the class, that all of a sudden Chevron's going to be beating down your door, and ExxonMobil is going to be hot on your tail, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um, from my perspective, cost should be something that risk management takes. And safety wise, for me, it would be more something like the CSP or something like that,
yeah,
where cost to me is risk mitigation.
yeah. It's got a little bit of both though, because the CSP, though it's got the clout, it's really testing for something. So if you take tests well, and especially if you're good with math, you'll do well with the CSP. So it has, yes, some clout, and it does definitely mean that you're dedicated in a way. So that is a benefit. However, you have a more practical designation with costs. So I've seen some CSPs lost. I mean, just lost when it comes to practical knowledge, and they've never been out in the field. So you're the stuff that you had to do that week of costs, where you had to flip through the CFRs and find out all the different stuff, even come up with presentations. You are a little bit more advanced than some CSPs right now.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, I see it all the time, and it has its place because CSP is probably a designation for maybe a person who manages a safety department where they have safety officers to go out in the field for them. That might be a good application for a CSP. But a cost is the guy who's down and dirty, and they're out there in the field, and they have to figure out how to do the JSA. They have to figure out how to assess hazards, because the CSP, they're not all of them are equipped for that. The ones who have longer experience are, but the guys who are just testing out of college, they get their CSPs maybe 1-2 years in, that they don't have it.
What industry do you see cost being most prevalent?
What was that?
What industry do you see cost being the most prevalent?
I definitely see, like you mentioned, oil and gas, because the cost program started in Louisiana. So I see it in oil and gas a lot, and I see it in construction a lot. So those are the two, and manufacturing. I haven't seen it in the medical yet, and I haven't really seen too much with utilities except for Florida. Florida, we do have some utility workers that are cost certified.
Agreed. We put almost 13 employees within the utility through the costs.
Awesome. Is that from United?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Glenn must love you.
You could say that.
Yeah, yeah. Glenn's probably like, come on, John, give me a call.
I've already gotten the calls for the COSM.
Yes, I'm actually taking mine. I'm not a COSM yet, so I'm taking mine in June, a couple of weeks from now in Baton Rouge.
Awesome.
So I think it might even be the same week as the Orlando one. I think that's in June, right?
Yeah.
So we might be taking the same class, but just over in different states.
Well, so far the new director isn't a big fan of moving in the same direction as the last director for costs and all that.
Hmm.
So far, we're heading more doing like the OSHA 30 hours and OSHA 10 hours and that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah, when I do the 10 and 30 hours, what I do is I'll do the 10 hours for the rank and file workers, the guys who just need hazard awareness. So I've had a couple utilities that have always asked me to come do the 10 hours. But the 30 hours, I only get like a handful, like Palm Coast, actually, ironically enough, they sent some guys for the 30 hours, and those are the supervisors. So the difference, though, between the cost and the 30-hour is the specialty of it, and then the trainer. Because some trainers will only train you of what the actual OSHA regulation is on the hours, but they don't really go into the detail that they should. So like when I do a 30 for a utility, I try to make sure that I find out what is important to them first, and then I'll incorporate their actual programs, and we'll teach the 30 framework like OSHA has it, but we'll go specifically on your program, and that's what really makes the difference. So if you have a trainer willing to do that, the 30 will be good for you. It'll be cheaper, obviously, so that might be something that your director's looking for, and it'll be practical. But the certification part, uh, that is, it would help if in the least, and you might want to direct them to a safe supervisor class, and that, if they don't want to do the 30, then they could do a safe supervisor class. And yeah, I think the 30 is still cheaper than the safe supervisor class. Have you seen that one yet? I can't remember.
I've been through it personally through United Safety Council, but United Safety Council just came out with a thing where they're offering through some grant to do the 30-hour for free.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a big difference, especially with the utility world, because they really, cities and counties, they want to make sure they save as much money as possible. So that makes sense.
Pretty much.
So yeah.
Did you ever get your workman's comp insurance?
Oh yeah, yeah. I definitely have that.
Okay. Then just on a side note, as we were talking, I put in for my budget for next year already,
Mhm.
but if you have your insurance and everything, do you want to give me a quote to do the 10-hour here?
Yeah, yeah, no problem. What I'll do is I'll send you a piggyback quote from another utility, so you guys can get the same rate.
That'll work.
So, see, I'm gonna write this down on my highly technical writing utensil. So I'm too technical for you right here, and even my marker's not working, so that's even worse. So, but yeah, I'll send you that so you can get a good idea. Uh, but yeah, that's great. A grant, you can't beat that. A grant for that 30-hour. Glenn must be excited because what happens is he can offer the class for free, but he'll probably make it free for members or something like that, or he could have you in the classroom and then try to get some membership while you guys are there, or not you because you're already a member, but some of the other people there for the free class.
100%.
Hmm. Oh, look at that! I'm gonna have to see if I can work a grant because that's a really good idea.
Agreed. That's the first time I had seen it.
Hmm. Wow. Any other questions? It looks like it's funny because I had like 12 to 14 people sign up for the Q&A session. So I figured, all right, well, if I'm gonna basically keep the hour open, and if they come in and out, or if they're all here at once, we'll just I'll just keep it open so people could come in and out whenever they want. So you just made it first.
I like to overachieve.
Yeah. How's the mailing coming for you? Is it coming? Is it helping you out in any way? I've been really trying to keep up with I don't know, keeping everybody informed as much as I can whenever I get OSHA news or safety news.
Somewhat. The way that we're starting, like, confined space has always been our strongest program.
Hmm.
So what they laid out for this year to become OSHA compliant kind of was first to do trenching, then confined space, then asbestos, and then chemical handling. So
Okay.
we're in the process of asbestos right now, and then
Okay.
chemical handling towards the end of the year.
Okay.
The following year, we'll do 4 more programs.
Well, I do all those classes, so I'll write that down so you could for your budget for next year. Uh, I'll send you like a price sheet or something, make it a little easier for you.
That'll work.
So, all right, now it's writing. All right. So send the rate sheet. Then we'll do OSHA 10. Are you going to do collection system and distribution as well? Because their 10 is mostly construction, and the guys in the plant, their 10 is mostly general industry.
The way I have it set up right now is last year for our safety committee, the people that were on it,
Mm-hmm.
we did the OSHA 10 hour for them first. Then coming in the next fiscal year, starting in October, I have it set up to do another 10 hour for, however many people will be in the class. And basically do one class a year until we cycle through everybody. Also I have ancillary classes outside of that I have to make, just retraining requirements and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
trying to get focused on just implementing basic OSHA as a minimum, is kind of where I've been instructed to head. So
mm-hmm.
trying to just change that mindset of, we've always done it this way.
Oh yeah, the good old fashioned. I've been doing this for 15 years, and never once have we had an accident.
Exactly. I mean, I go out and I take a picture like when we get our polymer delivered. The truck driver wears a respirator just to unload it. Well, we're out there playing with it, and it's something just simple, that little fine line between the precaution that the delivery company is taking compared to the actual user of the product.
Yeah. Hey, that might help get the delivery company to do a safety presentation for you guys.
I never even thought of that.
Because what they do is they usually have a person that is responsible. Either it's going to be the person that's, I forgot the title, but they're the salesperson, but there's a certain title, like a account manager. So it might be the account manager or it might be their safety person. And so either way, you should try that because that might help you out quite a bit. Hey, looks like we got Alan here too. Alan, what's up, bud?
How you doing?
Good. Alan, meet John. John, meet Alan.
Hey, John.
Hello.
Wow, what was that? Oh, well, any other questions there, John?
I'll let Alan ask a few.
All right. Alan, where are you physically? You're still in Orlando?
I'm in Orlando at my office, actually. Just got off of one webinar I wanted to jump on real quickly, see if I couldn't make this one. Question for you. I know there's been some changes in the reporting requirements. The OSHA has kind of suspended that July 1 deadline for electronically submitting that log.
Hey, how'd you find that? They snuck that in. You there, Alan?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, they snuck that in. How'd you find that?
I read it this morning on the OSHA bulletin today.
Oh. Go ahead, sir.
Do we know when that's going to be, when they're going to start enforcing that?
No, they're actually very, very quiet on that. It actually showed up last Wednesday on their update, and they usually will tell you when they postpone something till. This one they left completely blank. And I talked to OSHA last week, 2 weeks ago actually, and they haven't even started the site yet. So I think this one is going to probably be fall at best.
Similar related question, Sheldon. The new rules that came out on 1/1 of this year required a 24-hour notice for worker fatality reporting directly to OSHA.
Mm-hmm.
There was another window that you had to report for fatalities involving lost work time, unconsciousness, and change of duties. I think it was the way it was phrased. What is the time frame for that category of injury?
Actually, they only have 2, 8 hours for fatality, and then the other one is 24 hours if it's a loss of eye, if it is one person hospitalized, or the last one is if there's an amputation.
Okay.
So those three things is 24 hours from when you get notified. I had some clients that were didn't get really notified until a couple of days later. So once that starts, then you get your time frame.
Gotcha. And that's regardless of company size?
Yeah, regardless of company size, even the small guys got to do that.
Gotcha. Well, that's what I needed to know. I got to clarify that. I'm meeting with a client on Thursday, and that'll be a big help. Thank you.
Good. Well, when you meet with your clients, any of them that do, well, anything, fumigation, definitely, and ladders, then they have to train their workers on fall protection.
Mm-hmm.
And that is past May 17th was that deadline, and they need to have an actual certificate that they write out themselves, if anything, says this is what we trained on, this is who did the training, and here's my worker's certificate.
So the certified training as of May of this year, you said?
May 17th, that was the deadline.
I'm adding that to my notes here.
Just one more thing, right?
Yeah, world of, you're always so informative. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to Baton Rouge in 2 weeks, man. You want to come?
Oh, I'd love to. I'm going back in July when my daughter gets married, so I'll be there soon enough.
Hey, John, Alan's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so if you're a Gator fan, don't mention that to him.
Well, I'm looking forward to going to the Swamp for a couple of years in a row. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be great. Any other questions, either of you guys?
I think that covers me.
All right.
The only question I have, just to follow up to him on the fall protection,
Mm-hmm.
if I did fall protection in, say, 2016, does that meet the requirement?
No, actually, it's completely changed. The new rules, the scaffolding is changed because now the scaffolding falls under construction rules. So you actually have to teach your workers on subpart L of 1926. And then yeah, that also includes, let's say you use a scissor lift. They count that as a mobile scaffold. So that's all changed. And then general industry, they actually have so many new rules on, like for instance, if you have a 25-foot ladder or greater, you're going to have to put a cage around it and a ladder safety system, which is new. And that compliance date is for existing and new ones is next year. And if you have one that is, I forgot the wording, but there's a 20-year transition period for the other ladders, but it's fixed ladders 25 feet up. So if you have a silo or you have some sort of ladder that is attached to a building reaching a tank that is that high, you're going to have to fall under that. So there's a lot of changes. You should look at subpart D in general industry. And Alan, that's the same with you. If you guys, let me share my screen with you real quick. So I'll show you guys where to find it. So can you see the OSHA page?
Yes.
All right. Trying to move my control. Is just type in walking, working surface, and you'll see final rule. And you want that PDF version down here. Nope, that's the publication. Final rule update, working. So right here is the regulatory text. So if you haven't received or picked up a new copy of the 1910 rules, this is definitely changed, so you need to download it. even the number systems changed. So Alan, if you get anybody that is doing fumigation, I'm going to scroll down here a little. They changed the ladders from metal ladders and wooden ladders to the type of ladder it is, if it's a self-supporting ladder or a fixed ladder or another type. And then the big change, I should say another big change, is they added a duty for fall protection. So now it won't be a 5A1 rule violation anymore. It'll actually be a violation of right here, duty to have fall protection. So it's 1910-28. So they need to have personal fall arrest system, a safety net, or railings whenever they're on that roof. And there's even wording on there that says roof work. So there is no middle ground anymore where you need to sneak in. But how are you going to do the tarping on a roof when you're anchored to it? I think they're forcing you to get aerial lifts. That's really what the industry might end up having to do.
Still, though, when you put the tarp on the roof, you have to walk on the tarps. I don't understand. It's going to be difficult to engineer something to allow the movement necessary and then still comply with the regulations. That's always been the kind of tug on that. I don't. This may just make it even. Oh, the requirement's clearer. I don't know how the compliance is clearer.
That's true. So there's, as long as you have the capability of, there is something right now that you could pull up actual horizontal lifeline on a truck, and it's a full anchor system. You could do a self-retracting lifeline that goes, laterally, and the guys could use that, but then you have to bid that in, and now your bid is going to be a lot more than others if you're renting this material. But if you buy it, then eventually it'll pay for itself. So I'll have to look that one up for you, because I definitely have a presentation that shows that, but I'll look that up for you and see if I can send it to you.
Okay, that'd be great. Any direction would be very much appreciated.
Yeah, and I'll send the same thing to you too, John, so you could have it.
All right.
So I was telling John Allen earlier, I had something like 18 to 20 people sign up for this, and usually what happens is they'll come in little batches. So I'll see a little batch first, and I'll kind of hang out, and then I'll see the next wave come in, but no one's actually always there at the same time. So but if you guys wanted to hang out, you can. If not, then that's cool. You could fulfill the rest of your day. I won't feel bad. I'll let you do whatever you need. But if there's any questions, I'm just going to stick around and leave the room open for a little while.
Michelle, thanks so much for the invitation. I'll catch up with you soon. I'm still working through the other project with which on which I'd like you to participate. So give me a little more time on that, working through some of the legal stuff on this end, but I'll be back in touch with you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Have a wonderful day.
You too, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right. See you.
Bye-bye.
I think I'm going to go too. I missed a few phone calls from my boss. So.
You can't miss those, right?
Pretty much.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful day, man.
All right. Thank you very much for this.
All right. Let's see you.